Hello and welcome back. My name is Sierra Wolf, and this is my Let's Play series for 1.18. Last time we made this great iron farm that has been chugging away making iron. Let's go check up on it. I AFK'd a little bit longer than I thought I was going to because I set my computer up to AFK at the iron farm, and then I fell asleep for about 2 hours. So it has been chugging away. We got over a full stack of iron blocks, as well as about 3 more stacks of iron. So that is going to keep chugging around in the background, but we are going to use that iron today as we are going to be setting up one of my first mega projects. So one of the things I really want to get a lot of before we get going with a villager trading hall is I really want to get a lot of melons and pumpkins, and right alongside that I want to get a lot of sugarcane and bamboo, as sugarcane will come in handy for rockets later on when we want to get an elytra, as well as bamboo is just very good with scaffolding, and it can be turned into sticks and sold to a Fletcher villager. So what I think I'm going to do today is I'm going to set up a melon, pumpkin, sugarcane, and bamboo farm. And I came over here to this ravine because I actually think I'm going to change this front part of the ravine. I'm going to dig out a little bit more that way, and we're going to put it all underground. I have a really cool design in mind, and I am very excited for it. It is going to just be a hole in the ground, basically, but on each of the walls, there is going to be our 4 different farms. So we'll have a wall of pumpkin farms, a wall of melon farms, a wall of sugarcane farm, and a wall of bamboo farm. And I think what I'm going to do is on each wall, there is going to be about 64 of each of those things growing. So that means when it comes down to resources, there'll be a stack of each growing at a time. So that's a pretty ambitious. We will have to get down to doing a lot of digging, as well as getting some resources to decorate it up. But my idea is I'm going to have it all kind of pushed out into the middle into a water stream, and then that water stream is going to feed the items into different tubes. Those different tubes are going to then shoot the items up to the surface, and so then I'm going to build a little building right over here where the sugarcane, pumpkin, melons, and bamboo is going to be held and stored. So that's the plan for today. We have some digging to do, we have some resource collecting to do, and so let's get to it. Alright, so I am back, and after a long time of gathering resources, we have everything we need for this farm. So like I said, we're going to be using a stack of each of the plants, and so that means for that we needed a stack of observers and a stack of pistons for each of these too. So actually what I'm going to be doing is on the walls, there's going to be a layer. It's going to be layered. So for the bamboo and the sugarcane, there's going to be 4 layers of 16 plants across, and that is going to be for the bamboo and the sugarcane. But for the melon seeds and the pumpkin seeds, we are actually going to be doing 8 layers of 8 across, because for the melons and pumpkins, we have to have a space for the melon and pumpkin to grow and a space for the plant. But these sections are only 2 high, whereas these are 4 high, so we fit them in the same exact space. So that'll be really nice. But then there needs to be a block behind each of the observers, as well as some redstone to activate the pistons. So that's what you're seeing here, as well as stairs. The stairs are actually to hold the water. I'm actually going to be going a little bit overkill with the water. It's actually not necessary. I'll show you what I mean when I start building these. But I'm going to use the stairs to actually waterlog the stairs to hydrate the plants. And then the dirt, obviously, is for our plants to grow on. And then, like I said, I'm going to be using a bubble column to shoot all of the items up to the surface. And so we're going to have 1 in each corner, 1 for each item. And so I'll need soul sand for that. And so I got that. And obviously for bubble elevators, I like to use kelp to make sure all of the water is water sources. I'll show you that trick a little bit later. The last couple things I need, or not, I'm not exactly entirely sure how much I'll need or if I'll need much, but might be signs and ice for the moving the items around, as well as anything else that I'm going to be needing for cosmetically, because I'm not. Like I said, I have an design for the farm, but I don't really have a design for how it's gonna look yet. So I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna probably just do that on the fly. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure I clear out this space right here, and I'm gonna close off the ravine on one side, obviously, to make sure that the farm is in its own area, and then I'll probably close off this side too, just because I think I'm going to pull it back to about here. That way we don't have to worry about the water freezing or anything. Obviously, we're going to have to put a lot of light in here to make sure the plants grow anyway, so the water probably wouldn't freeze, but we'll just probably move it over a few blocks just to be safe. But I guess what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dig out this area, and I'll bring you back in when we get ready to start building the farm. Alright, so we now have our hole dug. So it's actually about a 20 by 20 by 18 deep hole. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over and grab my stuff. I'm going to grab as much as I can. Really, I'm just going to grab stuff for one of the sections. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to show you how I'm going to make the different farms. The sugarcane and bamboo is going to be the same, as well as the melon and the pumpkin are the same. So I'll probably I'll show you how to make the sugar and bamboo one, and then I'll also show you how to make the melon and pumpkin one. And I'll just show you like one layer of each, and then that way, after that, I'll jump into a time lapse of doing the rest of it. So we're just going to go ahead and jump down here. And one thing I do want is I'm going to go ahead and dig out a 4x4 area right here in the middle, just to go ahead and get myself an infinite water source so that I don't have to worry about having to go up to fill up my bucket for the rest of the time. So that's what I'm going to do. Got my water buckets, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my first layer of dirt down. So this is where our first layers of the plants will be. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to raise it up off the ground one. So we're going to go here, and like I said, this is 20 by 20, so we're going to leave 2 blocks on each side. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to put our row of dirt. So we're going to start with the sugarcane / bamboo version, and I think this wall is going to be sugarcane, that wall is going to be bamboo, then we're going to do melons on that side and pumpkins on that side. Does it really matter? No, not at all. I like to be particular, and so that's what I'm doing. So I'm just going to do this, that's the easiest way. Alright, so behind every staircase we're going to place behind every piece of dirt, we're going to place a staircase. And we're just going to do this all the way around. And I'm leaving these corners as I will I'm going to do this and put a temporary block here and do that so that it's a corner block. And I'll do that on every corner. So there you go. That's how we do. So that's the first step. And so the second step, obviously, is going to be waterlogging each of these stairs. I always forget on if it spreads. It doesn't. So we'll have to run down and grab water sources for every single staircase, which will be a lot, and that is why I wanted to have my water source down here. And so yeah, so we'll run down here every time, and we'll grab these water buckets, come up here and fill it up. Alright, so there we have it. There we have our water sources now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put some sort of temporary block here. As right now I don't really have anything I don't know what my decorations are going to be. I don't know what to put as temporary here. But what we're going to do with that is put that there, and then we will come in here, and we will have to actually flip around, and we'll have to come back here as we want to make sure that we can face the observers in this direction. And I think the easiest way that I'm going to be able to do this is do that. Oh, hi. We're going to actually do this, and then we're going to take this trapdoor that I keep on me, and we are going to make ourselves crawl so that we can just come along here and do this. Alright, and then before we leave, what we're actually going to do is I am going to take the block that we're going to put our redstone on, and we're just going to throw this back here as we crawl out of here. We'll seal this back up. So next thing that we're going to have to do is we're actually going to, we can go ahead and take this temporary block away. We will come back in here with permanent blocks that match the decor, just so that we don't have losses that go back there when the sugarcane and bamboo gets harvested. It just makes it a little bit better. Same thing with like here. But we'll come back in and do that in a second. So what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to go ahead and build up so that I can stand on these observers, because now what our job is, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take out this row, because like I said, this is the block that we're going to have redstone on. So we're going to do that, bring in our redstone and fill it in. And there we go. And now all we have to do is take our pistons and do that. And that is actually it. That is all you need for the sugarcane farm. So then basically what you'll do is you'll grab your sugarcane, plant it along this right here, and you'll be good to go. So what we're going to do next is we are going to set up our melon and pumpkin type farm. And so we'll do that over here. So it's going to be very similar, starting off with the staircases. So let's get those in. So now that we have that in, it's going to be a little bit different, because what we're going to do now is we're going to place our observers and pistons right on top of this. So basically how we're going to do that is we're going to place observers facing the block, and then pistons right next to it also facing the block. So I'm gonna do it. Go ahead and do the same thing I did earlier with the crawl method, and that way we can get back here, and then we will start placing our observers. Obviously, pistons are going to have to come from the other side, so we will go back through and add those as we need. But basically we're just going to alternate every other block with an observer. So the one thing we're going to do before we seal this up is we're actually going to come through here, and we're going to do a redstone. We're going to put this block, I might refer to them as my redstone placing blocks the rest of the night, just because basically what I'm saying is we're going to be putting a redstone signal through them. So I want to make them I want to make it a special looking block, just so that if I'm ever digging around here and I accidentally dig one of these up, I know why that is. And so we're going to do that. Then we're going to, on the places that are not behind the observers, which will be behind the pistons, we're going to put a redstone dust. And then we're going to take our pistons and we're just going to place them down. And there you go. That is actually one layer, but one thing I'm going to go ahead and build the next layer, because there's one thing I need to mention about that next layer. So we're going to take this dirt and we're going to place it right on top of, right over the piston and observers, like this, in a line. Because again, you need double the dirt for a melon and pumpkin farm as for each plant, because there needs to be one that'll host the plant and one that will plant the plant, if that makes sense. So actually, one thing I forgot to do is that when we are in, we need to come through here and make farmland everyone in front of the observers. So basically just come in here, and when there's observers, we are going to make it farmland. So now on this next level, what we're going to do is we're just going to repeat it in the same fashion with just one minor difference, and I will point that out to you when I get going. So the minor difference is we're going to go ahead and do most of this the same way, but when we get down to it, we are actually going to have to alternate the observers and the pistons. So where there was a piston will be an observer on this level, and where there was a observer needs to be a piston. While that is also aesthetically pleasing, that's not the only reason we're doing it. It's also because when it comes to quasi-connectivity and pistons, there's just this really weird function, and so if you were to place it the other way around, so that the pistons were stacking on top of each other and the observers were stacking on top of each other, it would actually cause the pistons on the lower levels to fire but then stay out when the piston above it fires. So because we don't want that to happen, you have to alternate it so that the observers are over where the pistons were in the last one, and vice versa. So we're going to go ahead and put water in these staircases, just like we did on every other level. And we'll get to it. And there we go. So, like I said, what we're going to do now is we're going to do the same trick. So we're going to take this block out, and we're going to take our trapdoor and place it here. And we're going to go down under, and the one thing I just need to make sure is the observer was on the first block on the bottom layer, so we're going to make it be on the second block and then just, again, alternate from there. So we got observers. First block was on that row, so we're going to make it the second block here. So second block, skip one, observer, skip one, observer, skip one, observer, and we'll just keep that pattern going. And then once again, we're going to go ahead with our hoe and till the land in front of the observers. I'm going to come in here later and place all of the plants later on, just so it's not, we need to make sure there's a collection system before we start harvesting plants, or else we're just going to have a lot of loss, and we don't want that. So there you have it. That is actually our two farms that we're going to do. Again, this is the melon pumpkin version, and this is the sugarcane bamboo. If you can see, I'm going to call this, even though this is technically 2 layers over here, I'm going to call this a layer because it has the same amount of plants planted as 1 layer of this. So right there is 1 layer of the sugarcane and melon farm, but we will go ahead and put in the first layer of the bamboo farm and the pumpkin farm, and then we'll just repeat it over until we have 4 layers of each. So this is going to be long, but we're going to do this in a time-lapse style fashion. I think I might change my mind. If it ends up being super long, it might be more of a montage, but we are going to go ahead and get it done. So let's get it. So there it is. There is our pumpkin, melon, sugarcane, and bamboo farm. I kind of ended up deciding against a building on top of this and decided to go with these industrial pipe looking things. I think it really works. I will have to come in here and kind of change up and do some, maybe put a sorting system in this sometime later, but for now I think this will do. I went ahead and I made it so that each chest has a primary item, but then obviously like this one over here, it does catch some melons from time to time because there's no way to really sort it with the way I'm bringing it in, but that's okay. This is gonna work great, and I think this is gonna be incredible. There is some losses, as you can see. Every now and then there'll be some losses with them falling, just kind of falling in there instead of falling down. But basically the way this works is when it sees that there is a plant being planted, the pistons fire, and then basically they work. All 4 farms work in the similar way, and then there is a line of glass here that you can't see because of the if you look this way you can kind of see it, but there's a line of glass there that's making it so that it drops into the water and then flows through, comes up these tubes, through these tubes, and into our system. So like I said, it is not lossless. I might have to go down there and just work a little bit with the water streams, maybe change it up, maybe make it so that it drops down a level instead of using ice. I don't know. I might have to play around with that. But this is what we have for now, and that is our melon and pumpkin farm, as well as sugarcane and bamboo. So that's it for today. Come back next time when we're probably going to make a mob farm or a gold farm. We'll see. Have to just kind of play around with everything else going on in this world and just see what we need. But that's it for now. If you liked what you saw or want me to make a tutorial video on these melon and pumpkin farms as well as sugarcane and bamboo, let me know. Let me know down in the comments. But also like and subscribe if you want to continue seeing my videos. But for now, see you.